Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I believe that the only way to put us back on the path of appropriate consideration of judicial nominees is to evaluate Judge Barrett as we would want to be judged on the merits of her qualifications. And we do that when that final question comes before us. And when it does, I will be a yes.
Lisa Murkowski. Judge Barrett, Supreme Court, yay, everybody cheers, move on. I've always said that Trump's legacy for everything will be the court system because he has changed it. Biden is now exploring opening up the courts to maybe more members. He's exploring 5 different things, and if you read them, they're all convoluted, and you're like, what are you talking about? And I've always said this. Go ahead and do that. Open the courts. Expand them. And then watch what happens at the ballot box. You'll pay the price. People are like, that's not what we do. That you felt like you got beat and played, and you didn't. And you're upset, and you're pissed, and you're angry, and you say things, and you get mad, and you're like, arr.
Confirming a lifetime appointment this late into a presidential election season is outrageous. Republicans promised they'd follow their own standard if the situation was reversed. Guess not.
Yeah, you guys would. 29 times, by the way, opening Supreme Court vacancy in presidential election year or in the lame duck session before the next inauguration. President has made nominations in all 29 cases, 19 times between 1796 and 1968. President has sought to fill the Supreme Court vacancy in election year while their party controlled the Senate. 10 of those nominations came before the election. 9 out of 10 were successful. By contrast, President of the United States and the Senate who are on opposing sides, their parties, there have been 10 vacancies resulting in presidential election year post-election nomination. In 6 of the 10 cases, the president made a nomination for Election Day, but only one of those was confirmed. Ooh. We move on. It was going to happen. No reason to whine, bitch, and moan about it. We saw that coming. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. We are 8 days away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, doesn't mean we're getting a winner. I just want everybody to understand. It doesn't mean on the night we're going to get a winner. And it could be a lot of different things. You've got to plan for wacky scenarios where not every ballot's been counted. People are going to gripe and moan. There's going to be some lawsuits. Even if we think we have a clear winner, there's still going to be some stuff potentially delayed. But at the pace we're going, look at how many people have voted already. I mean, it's insane how many. We're at 60 plus million voters already. You do realize, I think it was 130 million people voted last time? We're destroying the records right now. And time is running out, and both of them have to make their pitch. And the pitch is, I'm the guy that needs another 4 years, or this guy doesn't deserve another 4 years. This is what has to happen. And Trump knows he is hyper-focused in several areas that he knows he must win, including some areas he thought, I think, he had it all sorted out. He's been out here to Arizona on numerous occasions. We'll be out here later on this week. North Carolina's become an issue for him. Several states he thought were his, he's now got to make extra pitches to.
You haven't been treated well, but now you're being treated well. You work hard, you raise your families, you follow your laws, you support your church, you serve your community, and you give your love and your loyalty to your country. But now you finally have a government and a president that is loyal to you. Joe Biden's allegiance is to his donors, and my allegiance is to the people of this country. That's it. That's it.
Does he have it? Does he have the opportunity to claw back in the polls? What are the polls for real? I don't know. You know what? Of all the stuff that's going on with this, people all said the polls got it wrong. Look how wrong they were. If you watch the polls from 4 years ago, they were wide, and as they got closer and closer to the election, They shrunk. And for most part, they got it right on the national side. They missed on Furious, but it had shrunk to the point of, within the margin of error, meaning it was in 2 or 3 points. It wasn't on the day that she woke up and she was 14 points ahead in Wisconsin and 18 points ahead in Michigan. It had shrunk to the level where it was kind of a dead heat. And those late breakers broke for Trump. But Trump has something else he's dealing with. First of all, 4 years of chaos, and now COVID-19. And COVID-19 is something that he cannot pretend is not here. The numbers are rising big time. Mark Meadows, Jake Tapper, yesterday battling it out.
We're not going to control the pandemic. We are going to control the fact that we get vaccines, therapeutics, and other mitigation
Why aren't we going to get
areas
control of the pandemic?
Because it is a contagious virus, just like the flu.
Yeah, but why not make efforts to contain it?
Well, we are making efforts to contain it.
By running all over the country, not wearing a mask?
Jake,
that's what the vice president's doing.
We can get into the back and forth. Let me just say this, is what we need to do is make sure that we have the proper mitigation factors, whether it's therapies or vaccines or treatments, to make sure that people don't die from this.
Yeah. And look, let me tell you something. Can we take better efforts? I think the president at time has missed the opportunity. He came out of the hospital. I don't think he was in any way, shape, or form in those surreal, bizarre moments. I don't think he was contrite. I don't think he learned much. We talked to Sean Spicer. He said the exact same thing. Thought there was a moment there of understanding, but he doesn't care. And he is running around, and people aren't wearing masks. And at this point in time, you got to ask yourself, let's do the best we can to mitigate this. In saying that, Mark Meadows is right. You're not going to control this thing. Italy, Spain, great article. I think it was in Politico last week. Numbers are rising in Italy, and they've done everything right. Why can't they stop it? Most of it's at home. What are you going to do now? Are you going to tell people they can't go home? You got to stay outside. We're all camping outdoors. Tell me how this plays out. At some point in time, and even Fauci said this at the beginning of this thing's going to do what it does. That's the reality of it. It's going to do what it does. How do we mitigate that? How do we knock the damage down? And it has become an us versus them when it shouldn't be. It should be, how do we take better care of our neighbor? Because you don't want to spread anything to them. And by and large, I think most people feel that way. Most people feel like, I don't care if I catch it, but I don't want to give it to somebody else. I think that's the way most people feel. Now, there are some people out there who think it's a giant hoax and it's a bunch of baloney. But that's kind of the thing that people are dealing with right now. It's become an us versus them. The mask and the maskless. It shouldn't be. It should be like, hey, you know what? I have enough respect for everybody around me that I'm going to do what the store asked me to do, wear a mask. I don't do a lot of things, but I wear my mask everywhere. I'm inside of work, I wear my mask. Why? Because they've asked me to wear my mask. Now, I spend 90% of my time alone. Outside of getting together to do my other show with my other on-air partner and a couple producers, I don't really see too many people. But when I go to the store, I got to go to the store later. I got to get a bunch of stuff for my reptiles. Guess what? I'm going to wear a mask. Why? Because they've asked me to, and I respect that. It's become this battle that shouldn't be. I do believe we are going to win.
We're going to defeat it, Jake, because we're Americans. We do that. And this president is leading while Joe Biden is sitting there suggesting that we're going to mandate masks.
Yeah. And you're not going to be able to. My question with Biden's always been, okay, what are you going to do different? We talked to Tammy Duckworth last week, and I was chatting with her. His senator, she was on the short list. I think she was one of the three. You had Kamala, you had Duckworth, and potentially Susan Rice. But it was really between Duckworth and Kamala Harris. And she didn't really have an answer. When I said, so what happens if we don't get any kind of, any kind of fix with this? Well, eventually we're going to have to learn to live with it. Okay. I think that's a fair question to ask. Certain questions that aren't being asked. And we're also not asking questions to the elderly generation. This is great. This is a great thing right here. This to me, I find to be hilarious about the elderly population. You know, my grandfather, who is not doing well. He's probably got a week or two left. But we talked about this at the beginning of all of this stuff. We joked around. He wasn't doing great then either. He was in and out of stuff he had some dementia. Obviously, we realized that. And he had a lot of different things that were going on. Plus, it was old age had gotten to him. And he just thought it was silly that, why can't you go see grandma and grandpa? Why can't you go see this, that, and the other? Why that? You had people in Denver in an old age, OAP, I used to call them old age pensioner, that's what they call them in Britain, but in a nursing community who were angry. They want to see their children, their grandchildren. They know that time is limited in their life. They'd rather die with that than die of loneliness. And this lady says it all.
I look at it this way. I've not got all that many years left of me, and I'm not going to be fastened in a house when the government have got it all wrong. How can we get the country on its feet, money-wise? Where's all the money? By the end of this year, there's going to be millions of people unemployed, and you know who's going to pay for it? All the young ones. Not me, because I'm going to be dead. I'm 83. I don't give a sod.
It's a British lady talking about what's going on in Britain because, once again, they've done it all right, and they still haven't been able to contain it. Like a lot of places have done it right, and they still can't contain it. And her question is, well, what's the use at this point? Why can't we do the best we can and just get on with our lives? And I think that's the thing that Trump is trying to paint. Guess what? Biden wants to shut you down. I don't want to do that. Biden wants to make sure that you guys are stuck indoors and you're going to be living like they do in California and elsewhere, where on a daily basis you never know what can and can't open.
To suggest that we're going to actually quarantine all of America, lock down our economy.
No one's saying that.
Well, they are. Joe Biden's saying that. He says lock everybody down. We're going to have a dark winter. Jake, let's be honest.
Friday and Saturday.
Let's be honest here. The health officials did not say dark winter. Those were Joe Biden's words. When we look at the number of cases increasing, what we have to do is make sure that we fight it with therapeutics and vaccines.
And I think there's a lot of that. And I think there's some people out there that I've talked to whose fear is Joe's going to slow things down when it comes to therapeutics and several other things, and take a look back and say, all right, hold on a second. Maybe we went too fast here. Let's slow this down. There are people asking questions, and I understand that. Those are real questions. Real questions. Because Joe is looking at it much differently. Trump's looking at it much differently. I think both of them got some things right, but I think both of them get some things wrong. I think the left has underplayed the damage doing psychologically and we've talked about the cure can't be worse than the disease. And I think Trump's underplayed the fact that we do need to be cautious. We do need to understand this thing. We do need to wear masks and socially distance. And we can do that respectfully and not look weak about it. But that's the battle that people are having. And in the day and age when we can't actually have a conversation about anything, no wonder it's political. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Legacy Box. This is awesome. So I got my Legacy Box. I'm going to tell you about it right now. So for you younger people, you don't understand this. But for older people, we used to take film and get it developed. We used to have 8mm film. We used to watch great grandma and grandma and everybody, back in the day. We had VHS and beta players. Well, Legacy Box is here to make sure all of those legacies you have, all those memories that are trapped, they're not going to be trapped anymore. What is your favorite childhood memory? I've got a lot of stuff that I just, with my dad who's passed away, but it's hard to get. And it's on all these photo albums. And we decided, hey, we need to do this. So this is a way for you to easily afford digitally preserved past just for you, right? All you do is pack it and send it. Team digitizes everything by hand, then you enjoy. It is awesome. Top of that, you got like this little barcode thing, and you can see how far along they are in the process. They use premier scanners and playback decks to ensure the memory is mastered to the highest quality. So you look at it and you're like, oh, they're going to touch it up and make it look like, whoa, this is incredible. I love it. It's a great gift, and this year it's a major gift for the holidays. Think about it. Legacy Box. Get started future-proofing your memories today so you can gather the family in the beginning of the trip down memory lane you guys can take. Go to legacybox.com/Benson to get an incredible 40% off your first order. Buy today. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. Send it when you're ready. You get it. It's easy. It's simple. Legacybox.com/Benson. 40% off while supplies last. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
We're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Did you guys hear that? So maybe I don't. And then the guy and the dude before the guy I worked with him. You know him, right? The guy Barack Obama, voter fraud, and we put it. And it's an inclusive voter fraud. We want white people, gay people, black people, Hispanic, Asian, trans. We want everybody who wants to be involved in voter fraud. We don't care what kind of person you are, as long as you're part of the voter fraud. We're inclusive. You have to put inclusive into everything. It's the way you have to do it now. Joe Biden, he just keeps on giving. That's what he does. President Obama, the former president.
Donald Trump isn't going to suddenly protect all of us. He can't even take the basic steps to protect himself. There's no sense that he's coming up with a new approach, with a new plan. He doesn't even acknowledge that there's a problem. Just this week, he complained that the pandemic was making him go back to work. If he had been working in the first place, we would never have seen the situation get this bad. So I love the creative honking. Fantastic.
Did you say creative honkies? Oh, honking. My bad. Obama's doing everything he can. It's close. I'm telling you guys, we're going to talk about how close it is. Is there a quiet storm of people that are out there for Biden? Is there a quiet storm of people that are out there for Trump still? Are we going to see another one of those? I can't believe this happened moment. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. Plus, Chad Benson's horror movie countdown. Oh, yeah. Talk about that, too. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The president barnstorming the battleground states, hammering his rosy picture of the pandemic, even as the nation again hits that record number of cases.
We're rounding the turn. We're doing great. Our numbers are incredible.
And still defending his mostly maskless rallies. The Democratic candidate campaigns more cautiously than Trump over the weekend in the must-win state of Pennsylvania.
It may come down to Pennsylvania.
He's up in the polls, but Biden insists to 60 Minutes that he's taking nothing for granted.
No, nor can you. And while I think a lot of people out there on the left, there's just no way that Trump has a shot at winning this. I think the other people who have been in this position before through other campaigns, in particular 2016, are saying, do not get complacent. You've got to get out and make sure that you hit the battleground states. One of the things, and the biggest mistake that Hillary made as far as just campaigning. I'm not talking about all the other stuff that led up to it, how she was as a human being and all of those kind of very robotic, never showed any feelings. I'm talking about the fact that she took for granted largely Democratic areas and states and didn't really campaign. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, places I think she thought she had it. There's no way that they're going to vote for him. And he focused on those things. Biden's not making that mistake. He's not going to California. He knows he has that, right? I'm surprised he's not making more trips to Texas. Because if you believe any of the polls, it shows that that's a battleground state. He's been out here once in Arizona. That's it, once. And he was out here for, God, like minutes. And that's it. He didn't do anything else. He was out here for a couple minutes and left. And it's become a state. But he knows, hey, I got to focus where I know that I can afford to lose Texas if I win Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan. I didn't expect Texas. That would be huge. That'd be huge. He's going to focus where he needs to, and Trump's going to go to those same places, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. The other side of all of this is people are still trying to figure out. They're pissed off that you know, Amy Coney Barrett, the new judge, oh my God, everybody's mad about that. The Democrats and the Republicans fought over that. But there's still the matter of a stimulus. And I'm all for letting the government get the hell out of our way and allowing us to get back to a livelihood that we've created for ourselves in a normal way by being somewhat cautious, by wearing masks, giving a little social distancing, maybe limiting the amount of people that come in your store at certain times. I think we should be open for business. I think people want to work. They don't want to be handed something. But if you're going to close them down, you better figure out how to make sure it's worth their while for being out of business for a while.
The White House has moved closer to your position on lots of issues. Coronavirus testing, contact tracing strategy, unemployment benefits, local government.
Excuse me, they haven't yet.
They
That's
haven't?
what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the final.
Well, they
yes.
said they would, and you're waiting to see it on paper.
They haven't yet. And also, same thing, they keep moving the goalposts. We're 9 days before an election.
Yeah.
We're trying to unify the country, and one way to do it is to come together to crush the virus so that we can open our economy, open our schools, feed our people.
Yeah. Well, remember, most of the people that aren't being fed right now were feeding themselves before this. Understand? Originally, we took caution. Do we become overly cautious? Depends on where you live. It's still a red and blue issue. You're living in California, you're probably saying, hey, I think this is ridiculous. Can't feed yourself. Your place is shut down. If you can't operate, it's at a tenth of what you could operate at. People are struggling there. And by the way, the state and the cities themselves are going to go so broke. And that's one of the big battles that's going on. The Democrats want money in there for cities that have overpromised for years and have undelivered and have gone to the people on numerous occasions, in particular the rich and the upper middle class, and asked them to pony more of the of the money coming in. And those people are now leaving. Those people are saying, I've had enough. We're getting out of here. So the reality is a lot of what this has nothing to do with testing, unemployment benefits. A lot of what's coming on, at least from Nancy Pelosi and a few others out there, is we need to make sure that the blue states get some cash that they need in order to survive. That's it. I've said all along, take care of the people, worry about the rest later. We could have done this 90 days ago. Take care of the people, get the rest when you can later. Take care of the people, make sure they have a few bucks so maybe they keep their head above water, which at least keep the economy in some way, shape, or form kind of floating along, and the rest will take care of itself. When you guys either decide you're going to sit down for real and figure out how you do this, or the vote comes in. What matters first and foremost is the people. And if you've shut people down and you've told them you cannot operate, or you can operate at limited capacity and that's it, that's not good. It's not. It's not good. What will happen? I don't know. I don't know. I think there's a lot that's going to go on between now and next Tuesday. That will be a lot of talk. But by the end of next week, especially if we have a clear winner, something magically will get done fast.
You're winning. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. I'm looking at all the things that the White House is moving towards your position on, and it seems like you could take yes for an answer.
We all want an agreement. Nobody wants it more than the House Democrats. We represent these people. We really have to stop the spread of the virus. And it's, 9 months later?
Yeah, no,
and they still will have refused to honor science.
If the Democrats win the White House and the Senate and keep the House, are you going to hold out until...
No.
We represent these people like nobody else represents them. Get over yourself. You're getting what... Life is about trade-offs. They're giving you some trade-offs. They are. If you've shut down completely and your state, even when times were better and we didn't have a wave going on, and you still shut it down, and now you're wondering why people are mad at you, and you've got no tax revenue coming in, and you're struggling as a state, I think that's a you problem. It is. And by the way, even if Biden wins, they're going to have these issues here in the future. Because Republican states are going to continue to do the things that they've been doing. Democrat states will continue to do the things that they've been doing until we get a complete handle on this through a vaccine and therapeutics. Do you think magically overnight, if Biden wins, we're shutting everything down? No. Hell no. Some states probably will think about it. Why? Because, well, hey, we got everything, so we'll just print some more money. Other states will be like, we're going to live our lives. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. So, Halloween is here. And the battle now of how do we do Halloween, right? How do we do Halloween? What can we do for Halloween? Can we keep Halloween alive? Of course we can. Enough of this crap, CDC says.
The CDC putting out a guideline warning people to avoid high-risk Halloween activities like door-to-door trick-or-treating or car-to-car trunk-or-treating, indoor costume parties or haunted houses, and hay rides with people who are not in your household.
Oh, my God. People are asking me, Chad, what are you guys doing? The kids are going to go, Jack's out here. We're going to go trick-or-treating. Right? We can socially distance and walk up to somebody's house who can then hand us a piece of candy because the CDC and the World Health Organization, everybody else says the chance of that transmitting from one to another, you're going to be with somebody for 3 seconds. Trick or treat. Here's a piece of candy. We're moving on. We're moving on. That's it. We've moved on. We've decided to move on. We're not going to stand here and converse with you for an hour and a half. We're moving on. That's it. We're moving on. But it's dangerous. This is the part of the whole thing with this is the calculated risk of why kids are struggling, why adults are struggling. We have got it in our minds that this thing is the deadliest thing in the history of deadly things. It is not. We can take precautions without throwing, we're just going to throw everything into the wind, right? It's caution, throw it into the wind. You can take precautions. You could take your kids and go trick-or-treating. My neighborhood, they have put out a list of homes that are going to be trick-or-treating. So you just stop by there and you get a bunch of candy. And some places, somebody may have one of those claws that comes out that you can pick, so older people pick stuff up. They don't want to pick stuff up because they can't bend over as well. And they got that little thing that picks stuff. It's insane that we're in this position that we're going to cancel something. Are you kidding me? We can't find a way. We can put a man on the moon. You can give me something, a computer in my hand that can do more than the thing that took the man to the moon. We can do all of these things, and we can't figure out a way to make trick-or-treating a possibility?
Beverly Hills approving an urgency ordinance banning trick-or-treating, restricting giving candy, treats, or toys to anyone not in your household. Warning, rule breakers will be issued citations.
Think about that for a second. We're coming for you because you gave kids candy. Kiss my ass. This is the stupidity. You want to know why people on the right and other, I've got Democratic friends who find this to be ridiculous. Do you want to know why? Because it's ridiculous. Gavin Newsom putting out stuff in California. All right, you can only have 3 households in your house at Thanksgiving, but you got to eat outside. You must wear your mask. And it's coming up with all this bizarre stuff. Stop it. Calculated risk. You know what the risk is. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to go to this Halloween party with 150 people I don't know. But the 4 neighborhood kids that want to come by and trick or treat, I know them. I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to hang out with them all day. It is stupid. It really is. This is why people are pissed, because you can't have a normal conversation and use common sense. So wait a minute. Hold on. I just want to get this right for a second. I can go to the store. I can be around a bunch of people I don't know. I can get food that other people have touched. It's not like the food magically showed up on the shelves. I can then go through the situation where I stand in line, sometimes take an hour and a half or two while you're in the store. I can check out. I can go home, and I'm fine, all while I wear a mask. But to take the little ones for an hour trick-or-treat to neighbors is somehow dangerous. Soak that up. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us. Car Shield is amazing. Love it. Right? So if you've got a car and I've got a car, I've got two cars. One's older. It's not old, but it's old enough that I don't have any electronics in it. I mean, it got the regular old stereo. It's got that, but it's not like, it's like a 2010, it's when I drive, when I'm going to go places a little bit further. I got a newer car. That one's got more electronics. I worry about the electronics in the newer car. I worried about the engine in the older car. Car Shield can cover both. Plan starting as low as $99 a month. What's great about Car Shield is 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. Take it to the dealership if you want. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. So it doesn't matter what you look. Maybe you're saying, Chad, you know what? I do worry about the electronics. I'm not worried about the engine. Maybe you're saying, I'm worried about transmission. I'm worried about the air conditioning. I'm worried about the heat. Can Car Shield cover those? They can. Just call 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson. Saves you 10%. Discuss exactly what it is you're looking for. Hey, I'm looking for this, that, and the other. Whatever it is, be specific. They've got a plan that fits your budget that's right for you. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson saves you 10%. Or carshield.com. Carshield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Irreverent? Yeah. So what? It's the Chad Benson Show.
So you heard me go on my little rant about Halloween. You guys know I love the scary stuff. I love Halloween. It's always been one of my favorite times of year. Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, favorite time of year. I just absolutely love it. And I love scary movies. And every year I like to, count them down.
Now it's time for Chad's Evil Countdown. The best horror movies of all time. Can you handle it? Are you afraid? You should be.
All right, let's talk about horror movies. Love horror movies. Always loved them. As a kid, I was obsessed with them. I still am. I'm obsessed. If you even look at my studio, I've got monsters everywhere. I've got Jason mask that's real. I've got a Michael Myers mask. I've always loved horror movies. And we're going to start with, to me, number 5 as far as horror movies go. One of the greatest movies of all time, let alone horror movies of all time. And it started out with a trailer. It was a simple movie trailer, but it said a lot.
There is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the devil and gave him jaws.
Love it. Oh, God, what a great trailer. Itself was amazing. And the movie itself was incredible. Some things you didn't know about Jaws. Loosely based on 1916 Mattawa County, New Jersey attacks that were horrific at the time. Nobody knew that sharks could do something like that. Several people were killed in Mattawa County, New Jersey, in and up and down some tributaries there as well, actually in the ocean. It was a rogue shark. Some of the other stuff, though, about the movie. The Orca, the boat, actually sank in real life. Robert Shaw, one of the great actors of all time, was actually evading the IRS during the filming of the movie, which was hilarious. But one of the things that was great is, one of the great parts of the film was when Hooper, Richard Dreyfuss, finds Ben Gardner's boat. And he goes down into Ben Gardner's boat, and the head pops out. It's a great, great scene. Everybody freaks out. They didn't like the movie. Had been done for 6 months, getting ready to release it. They didn't like it. They didn't like the original. So they went to Vera Fields, who was somebody who'd worked in the movie as an editor, had a swimming pool. And Spielberg reshot it in the swimming pool. He added milk to make it look all milky and just, yeah. And he said he would go, during the opening weekend or two, he would go to the movie just to that part, and he would turn around. And when everybody screamed, he would laugh and get up and leave. And they edited it in. It was awesome. Movie was a huge box office success, spawned a bunch of other crap behind it. But when you think about something that's real and scary, what's more scary than an actual shark that eats? Because guess what? It happens. That's number 5 on your Chad Benson Show Scary Movie Countdown. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Halloween canceled. Bunch of nut jobs. Halloween's double this year. Plus the clocks go back. My goodness. Should we not do that because of the COVID? I'm just asking for a friend. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We get it. We understand it. They can fight about it, and that's exactly what they tend to do in situations like this. But the reality is you knew it was going to happen. Amy Coney Barrett, we move on. The battle that's going to be is what takes place after this election and when the Democrats have a chance to be in charge. What takes place after that? Joe Biden? Here's the thing about, right, so you can sit here and you can listen to everybody be angry.
Confirming a lifetime appointment this late into a presidential election season is outrageous. Republicans promised they'd follow their own standard if the situation was reversed. Guess not.
29 times it's been done. Only once has it been done where there has been a president that is different than the Senate. And only one time was that done. But I think it was 9 out of 10 times it was done during this, even in lame duck session. So don't tell me it's not been done. You act, it's never been done before. It's never been tried. Done, dusted. We move on with our lives. Here's my issue. And this is the problem I have when you don't ask her the question. Here's the question. Hey, Joe, you've said in the past, right? You want the president and everybody else to follow some sort of magical thing as if it's his job to appoint somebody. The Senate belongs to the Republicans at this moment in time, but that was his job. President Obama appointed Merrick Garland. He didn't get a hearing. I thought that was crap, but the reality is you saw that coming. Right now, the Republicans are sitting in the catbird seat in the situation, but you're now exploring 5 different convoluted things to do when it comes to the Supreme Court. Trump's legacy will always be the Supreme Court, no matter what he does, and the court system itself. That will be Trump's legacy. It will be. Appointing some 200 judges throughout the federal court system and now having 3 Supreme Court judges. That's huge. Huge. Now, here's the thing. You've been dodging the question. Now you're exploring different things, and you go and do that. Let me tell you what America likes to do. We're a fickle bunch, and we're going to be like, well, we don't think that's cool. Because that's the way that we keep everybody in check. We give you a little bit of power, and then when you show you can't be trusted with that power, we give the power back to the other side to at least try to hold you in check. So then eventually that's the ebb and flow of this stuff. That's the ebb and flow. It's the way, the ebb and flow. Go ahead, do it. See what happens. At the end of the day, I think if you do, you'll overstep. And I think people have serious questions about, like, that's not what we were looking for. Right? It's not. It's not. You can be mad at the Republicans all you want. Trump said it right. You know, you guys do the same thing. Of course they would, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's your job. Your job's not to play nice. You're in politics, for God's sakes. In a situation like this, where the courts matter, to the point where it was Jefferson Jackson said that they should do the least damage. The courts should do the least damage, be the most terrifying thing in politics, right? It should be the most neutral thing out there. But now it is not. And so it is important. It is important. But it was their job to do. This was their job, right? This was the job. The job was, you're president. We're in the Senate. We have control. You told us what to do. You threw somebody out there. We liked her. We move on with our lives. You want to expand it now? What are we going to have? Well, then the Republicans will have the opportunity to expand it. And then the Democrats will have the opportunity. And then the next thing you know, we had 5,000 judges. Now, you can make an argument for terms like, hey, it's a term. You get 25 years. You get 20 years. You get 15 years. And we move on with ourselves. I would look at some stuff. I got zero problems with that. But at this point in time, so I'll move on with ourselves. We got bigger fish to fry. We've got an election 8 days from now. Chad, that's not bigger fish to fry. Well, you couldn't stop it. So, you know, what crying or whining or bitching or moaning about it is you couldn't stop the damn thing. So now you got to figure, well, if we're going to do something, we better focus on next week. Because you got 8 days. 8 days to figure something out. 8 days to try to win. 8 days to get yourself into a position where you win. And you better figure out how you're going to go do that. What are the states you need to win?
The president barnstorming the battleground states, hammering his rosy picture of the pandemic, even as the nation again hits that record number of cases.
We're rounding the turn. We're doing great. Our numbers are incredible.
And still defending his mostly maskless rallies. The Democratic candidate campaigns more cautiously than Trump over the weekend in the must-win state of Pennsylvania.
It may come down to Pennsylvania.
He's up in the polls, but Biden insists to 60 Minutes that he's taking nothing for granted.
You can't. At this point in time, you can't. You can't take anything for granted because they've seen this movie before and they know the way it ended. Every day, whether it's friends or family, or if I'm somewhere and somebody says, hey, listen to your show, and they'll ask me, who do you think's going to win? I cannot tell you honestly. There are days when I think Trump's going to lose. And there are days when I think Biden's going to lose. And there are days I think, why is it only these two guys? Most of those days is, why is it only these two guys? I don't know. I have no idea at this moment in time. The people that see the rallies for Trump get excited and think, well, look at all the enthusiasm. And they look at Joe and then nobody shows up at Joe's. Well, if we're to break down even the mask debate, right? So here's your mask or here's no mask. So the people who believe there should be masks, well, they're a little bit more concerned about that. And if you think about it, right, let's just break it down. Republicans, Democrats in the world of masks. Republicans, a little different in ideology and thought than Democrats. Democrats, potentially in life, a little bit more cautious, right? They also look at science in a different way. Well, Republicans don't. No, they look at science. They look at it a different way. Over here, the Democrats look at it and think, look at all the people that have died. The Republicans look at it and think, well, this thing's not really that deadly. Look at all the people that haven't died and have recovered from this. And I think it's the way they potentially even approach the way they come out and support. But the reality is people aren't excited about Joe Biden. And Joe Biden's popularity is actually expanding on this. But they're not excited about him. He's a good dude. I think he's a good guy. He's a criminal. Whatever. Get over yourself. But you see the crowd and you're like, oh my God, there's 10,000 people here to serve Trump. And you go over there and Joe's at like a Denny's and there's 8 people and 5 of them showed up because they just want to get a grand slam. Had no idea. They're like, we'd like a move over Miami. Why is this guy over here doing a speech? What's that about? But are there people elsewhere? We're going to talk about that. The unseen voter Is it real? Do both sides have a case to make? Because I have talked about it on numerous occasions. I have gone around Phoenix and all the surrounding area and other places throughout the country, and I see Trump flags, I see Trump banners, I see all kinds of stuff. Rarely do I see a Biden-Harris banner. Rarely do I see it. Once in a while I'll see one, but I don't see a lot. Doesn't mean it's not there. But at the same time, is there an overestimating of his popularity against Trump? And this is against Trump. Never mind. This is all about the disdain for Donald Trump. Totally get it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. On the other side, we still have this thing called the coronavirus. It's not gone anywhere. It's right here. It's front and center. The battle is very real. Numbers are continuing to rise. We had 64,000 on average last week. Largest moving average we've had at all. How deadly is it? Here's what I look at. The hospitalizations that you're seeing are in certain places where they didn't get hit like a lot of places. New York got hit first. Then it was up down the eastern seaboard. Then it, for whatever reason, jumped out to the west. Kind of the middle of the country didn't really have it, but other places are now starting to feel it. Feel it in ways they've not felt before. Their hospitalizations are rising, where a lot of other places, even though some of the numbers are rising, the reality is the hospitalizations aren't really up that much. And I always look at the other side of things, which is the mortality rate. But it's still here.
We're not going to control the pandemic. We are going to control the fact that we get vaccines, therapeutics, and other mitigation
Why aren't we going to get control of the pandemic?
Because it is a contagious virus, just like the flu.
Yeah, but why not make efforts to contain it?
Well, we are making efforts to contain it.
By running all over the country, not wearing a mask?
Jake,
that's what the vice president's doing.
We can get into the back and forth. Let me just say this, is what we need to do is make sure that we have the proper mitigation factors, whether it's therapies or vaccines or treatments, to make sure that people don't die from this.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? I don't care if, depending on where you want to look, CDC, other outlets that are, part of universities globally as well as here, who point out how many people they think they've had it, how many people have had it, how many people, depending on where you're looking, is this thing getting worse as far as the mortality? We know how to treat it better. We've got some things that we think with remdesivir, but a few other things that we've tried that we think can slow this thing down in the spread, taking it from a situation where you may feel like you're going to go get hospitalized, and you do, but rather getting to the point where you're going to be on a ventilator, they've got ways to treat this thing so you don't get to that point. And that's what it's about. It's about the mortality. It's not going to keep people catch it. I think if 360 million people catch it, if we can keep it so we mitigate the damage, meaning we can make this thing almost negligible when it comes to the deaths, that's what it should be about. But no, Jake Tapper, why can't you control it? Because you can't, you boob. At the end of the day, outside of staying in our homes, and by the way, Italy has done everything correctly, and now they're saying that most of the cases they're getting are coming from the home. People are doing everything correctly because nobody's leaving the house, yet people are still catching it. How? Is the community spread that deep? That big? Is that a possibility? Because if it is, then what? We wear a mask and separate from each other inside the house? Yeah, I think most people will say, I'm take a hard pass on that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us. Hello, Fresh. Love it. Jack's here. So we're having fun. And when my son shows up, he's 10, he eats everything in the house. He's growing ginormous. That's what he does. That's what kids do. And so with fall being here, he's got school. He'll eat me out of house and home. I got to make sure I can get all the things that he needs, as well as some stuff for me. And that's where the food comes in with HelloFresh. 22 chef-curated recipes each week. Low-calorie, vegetarian, family-friendly options. But they got craft burgers, taste tours, a gourmet feast, surf and turf, you name it, they've got it. Now, though, it's getting towards that fall kind of, comfort food things. So we're eating meatloafs and all kinds of things like that. Here's the beauty of this. Recyclable packaging, portion ingredients. What's that do? First, it cuts down on home food waste by 25%. That's awesome. Easy to do. You pick your food. So let's say tonight I'm going to do meatloaf. This is my favorite thing. I'm like, can I get more of these? It takes about 20, 25 minutes to go from choosing it, assembling it, cooking it, getting it in your belly. That's awesome. Plus saving 40% versus shopping at your local grocery store. And the beauty of HelloFresh is flexible, fit your lifestyle. You need to add extra meals. You need to skip a week, whatever it is. You can do that with HelloFresh. Get started today with America's #1 meal kit. Go to HelloFresh.com. Use promo code Benson. $80 off across 5 boxes, including free shipping on your first box. That's promo code Benson for $80 in savings. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's find out what's trending. Let's start with Twitter. It's usually just a bunch of angry people yelling at each other who will never meet. That's why Twitter is so much fun. Hey, do you want to hate somebody you've never met? Try Twitter. That should be their slogan. It's not very nice, Chad. But it's right. But it's not very nice. Let's see here. 60 Minutes, obviously, last night. Lil Pump, yet another rapper, has joined the throngs of other rappers who are apparently showing support on social media for the president himself. Oh, my goodness me. Cards last night. If you didn't see the football game last night, last game of the night, Sunday Night Football, it was a flex game because they didn't know if the Buccaneers and the Raiders were going to play because of some COVID tests. So during the week, they flexed it and made it the Seahawks and the Cards. It was awesome. Stayed up. Jack and I watched it. It was great. Cards win in overtime. The only time they led the game is when they kicked the winning field goal to break the tie. That's pretty cool. A lot of fun. Head on over to the magical world of Google, talking also about that. 60 Minutes as well. More Lil Pump. Hell in the Cell. Did not watch that. That's wrestling, folks. Is it wrestling or is it wrestling? Oh, I think it's wrestling. Top of that, France and Emmanuel Macron. The battle is beginning between him and Turkey and some other stuff that's going on over there. It's just interesting to watch that. With all of the things going on in France with the rising numbers of COVID and people are mad at Macron. On top of that, you've got issues with Turkey, and then you have the teacher that was beheaded a couple weeks ago, and people are upset about that. So imagine the fun being him right now. And 60 Minutes. More of 60 Minutes everywhere. And yes, that bizarre interview. It's just weird. You know what's weird? We're going to talk about it. It's Mike Pence afterwards. He's got to come in. You got to feel bad for Pence at times where you come in and you got to defend something that you quite frankly think, I shouldn't have to defend this, but I'm going to, and I'm going to try to make it, I don't know. It's like somewhere you're like, I feel bad for that guy because he's the cleaner. He's the cleaner upper. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You heard about my ex-boyfriend, right? 50 Cent and his support of Donald Trump. He says he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes, which, by the way, isn't a plan of Joe Biden's. That's a lie. So he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes because he doesn't want to go from being 50 cent to 20 cent. And I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump, and that he shouldn't be influencing an entire swath of people who may listen to him because he's worried about his own personal pocketbook.
Well, it depends. No, Joe Biden doesn't want to tax you 62%. That's if you live in a place like California, New York, when they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we raise money? So you pay whatever your tax rate would be under Joe, and then he'll have the higher tax rate. But then California is trying to get it to 16% now for a certain level of income. And by the way, you think, well, that's no big deal if you're making $400,000 a year, making $500,000 a year. If you're a couple that makes $500,000 a year in a place like San Francisco, you're fair to middling. You're not, when you've got places where, my friend's getting ready to buy a house in Southern California. She makes good money. Not ridiculous money, but very good money. $100,000, 100 or so. Houses that she's looking at are starting at $900,000 for like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in a place where you're not looking at the ocean. It's like, you got to drive for 40 minutes to get to the ocean, and it's a fixer-upper. So, $400,000 in Cedar Rapids is not the same as $400,000 in San Francisco, Southern California, New York. But the thing that made me laugh about that is I had to remind him he was black. And? Well, I had to remind him that black people don't vote that way. They need to have groupthink. How dare black people vote a different way or call out the BS that's out there? They should. They should absolutely call out the BS. 110% you should. Democrats have had the black vote for years, 50 years. How much has really changed? Be honest. We could throw it out there. You've seen the decline of the black family, the decline of the black father, incarceration rate through the roof compared to the population of African Americans in this country. And the thought process of voting in another direction somehow for some of these people is like, how dare you do that? How dare you do that? How dare you give a vote to Donald Trump when he is a Republican and you're only allowed to vote that way? Now, 50 Cent has flipped the script, said, oh yeah, blank Trump, blah, 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 blah. You caved. We know you caved. Lil Pump isn't caving. Lil Pump. Right? Other people are out there who, and I've seen, look, I think the gay males, right? Good support there. I think he's going to be surprised that the African American vote, in particular the black male vote, not the younger, right? Like the over 40, 50 crowd is, I think, still, hey, the Democrats are going to do us great. The Democrats are going to do this thing. And I look, first of all, know this. They're not going to do anything for you than anybody else is. It's about you and how you handle your business. And that's the same thing with me or anybody else. But a younger crowd is like, I kind of like this guy. Kind of like what he's done. The other night when he's in the debate, he's like, okay, I created opportunity zones. I did justice reform. Look what I did with historically black colleges. We can go on. He's made a lot of mistakes, too. But the fact that you would come out and say, I had to remind him he's black, and black people don't do that, is insane. But it is insane. Christopher Wallace talked to Ice Cube about what? The fact that he got all kinds of pushback. Why? Because he dares speak with the Republicans?
Over the summer, Cube released a contract with Black America.
By the way, can we just acknowledge Chris Wallace dropping Cube?
Over the summer, Cube released a contract with Black America, calling for reforms to close the opportunity gap in this country.
Descendants of slaves, the ones who built this country, are being kind of forgotten in the fray.
Cube brought his contract to the two presidential campaigns. The Biden camp said they wanted to sit down after the election. But President Trump's son-in-law and top advisor Jared Kushner met with him for 3 hours.
Oh, how dare they do that? You know you're not allowed to do that. You know you're not allowed to meet with somebody else. I have to remind Ice Cube, you were black, sir. You're not allowed to meet with anybody who's not a Democrat.
They listened, heard what I had to say, and pumped up their plan and presented it to the people on September, I believe, 24th.
We call it the Platinum Plan.
2 weeks ago, Cube praised the president's Platinum Plan to invest $500 billion in black communities.
Democrats, they got every black celebrity and on their team, so they just figure, tell Q to shut the up and vote.
No, what you need to do is, in your own heart, search. Say, you know what, I've given the Democrats votes through all these years. I've given the Democrats everything, and they don't deliver. In fact, rarely do we see them, especially when it's presidential candidates, because that's what they are. They're candidates. They're coming here. They're talking about the black community and what they can do for them and how they're going to help them out. Yet when they leave, we don't hear from them again until they come back. It's nuts. We got to do better, and better in a lot of different ways, by being able to have conversations and say, you know what, this is our problem. Our problem is we're not even allowed to talk to another side. How are we going to unite the country? I tweeted some out earlier about uniting the country. And because isn't that what everybody talks about? We're going to unite the country. We want to unite the country. This is about uniting the country, right? And I said, can any president actually unite almost half of Americans that have a different belief system politically? This guy writes in and he says, yeah. And then he writes down Joe can because of, he loves all people. He's smart, his real life experience, his upbringing. He's deciding not to be evil. This will lead us, Mr. Chad. And I said, that's all based on feelings. But if you don't believe in choice, right, you're pro-life, you fossil fuels, you start running down all the things. And he goes, I said, those are all feelings. And he goes, you know what? You're correct. That is feelings. If we've got a situation where people are criticizing you to the point where you feel you need to make a change because you've been pressured into it, it's amazing. You've been pressured into it, not because you probably believe any different, but because you've been getting so much flack. That's sad. We need to be able to have a conversation. Do I think Joe will do it better? Empathy-wise? Absolutely. 110%. I think Joe's a very good guy. I think empathy is a good thing to a certain point. But it can't lead everything you do. Facts do matter. Do I think we've been overrun with crazy facts in this world based on the fact that you look at COVID, right? It's a coronavirus. We never talk about what the survival rate is. We just talk about how many people have died. We never talk about the true high-risk groups. We just talk about how many people die. I watch TV all day flipping back and forth between everything because I like to get a feel. I mean, I don't watch a ton. It'll be on in the background. I'll look up and see what's on. But a lot of what I do is to see some of the craziness that's on there and how, the Foxes and the CNNs and the MSNBC will juxtapose their position until Gunsmoke comes on. And then we all know Gunsmoke speaks the truth. But I'll watch that, right? And they'll show the people we've lost during COVID. How many people have lost people to heart attacks? Not coronavirus, but cancer, heart disease, kidney disease, alcoholism, overdose. We don't see those up there. It's a picture. They're painting a picture. It's nuts. And this is why we have issues talking to each other, looking across the aisle. Because we want to paint pictures and lead with empathy, not with certain kinds of data. We want to paint pictures because we want to show everybody how kind and sweet we are. It doesn't matter if you can't get the job done. He's a nice person. Can he get the job done? Nope. I don't know if Joe can get the job done. He may very well do that. He may have everything in his power to do so. What if he doesn't? Then what? The study they did, I think was it, just trying to think, that wasn't the, I forgot which institute did a study, and we talked about it a couple weeks ago. We've done so many of this from the Hoover, I think it was Heritage Foundation. Actually, I did this one, of what's the most successful partnership in politics. When the White House is held by a Democrat and the Senate and the House are held by Republicans, because they're forced to actually deal with one another. So they're forced to do all they possibly can to work together. It's just nuts. Have somebody come out and go, well, he's black. Doesn't he know he's black? It's nuts. Think about this. Van Jones.
I'm the least racist person in this room.
8 in 10 black Americans believe that Trump is a racist, according to a Washington Post Ipsos poll earlier this year. Why does the president make comments like that instead of acknowledging that maybe sometimes he has said things that seem insensitive, but he wants to work on it?
Well, that's not his style. I think it's really unfortunate because Donald Trump, and I get beat up by liberals every time I say this, I'm going to keep saying it, he has done good stuff for the black community.
Yeah, he has. Absolutely. And why does he get beat up for that? Why? Because every day it's the question you lead with. Every day. Doesn't matter what he says. I mean, that whole thing, there's nice people on both sides. And you actually go and you look at what he said. That's not, but it's been taken and that has become the truth in a conversation like that. So that's the truth. Like the Proud Boys. They're evil. They're bad. If you want to call them a right-wing terrorist organization, you're going to call them that. If you want to call them whatever well, they're a racist organization led by a half black, half Cuban man. I don't know what kind of racist organization that, when you go out and see them. Hell, they held a press conference 2 weeks ago with Black Lives Matter to talk about all the things that they agree with each other. Could you imagine the Klan going, you know what we really need to do? We need to have a conversation with the Black Panthers and we need to come together and hold a joint conversation to talk about it. Like, this is the insanity. Do I think Trump has all too often kind of skirted the issue with some things? Yeah, I think he has. Could he have done better? 100%. Does he get no credit where he deserves some credit? Absolutely. But he also puts himself in poor positions.
And so the black community can appreciate some of the stuff he's done, but when they see him playing footsie on Twitter with these white nationalist organizations, it just wipes it all out. And so if they had had a disciplined strategy of being a consistent ally with the black community and being an enemy of the white nationalists, we'd be in a very different spot. And that's the tragedy of these mixed messages from the Trump White House.
But he talks about the Proud Boys, and they're not a white nationalist group. I think we can all agree with that. Now, you can call them whatever you want to call them, a terrorist organization, whatever, but they're not a white nationalist group. But as Trump all too often, yeah, he's been silent when he should have said, but even when he said, it was never enough for people. And you tell that same thing over and over again, and people are like, well, he must be a racist. No matter what he's done. I'm an actions person. What actions have you done over your words? That to me matters more than the words themselves. But it doesn't matter when you hear stuff like, well, I had to remind him he was black. I had to remind 50 Cent he was black because I'm Chelsea Handler, and he may have not known he was black. I had to remind him he was black, and he can't vote that way. Tell me what, if Trump would have done everything correctly, that he would have got any credit for it. No. We don't live in a world where the other side, unfortunately, called the other side, which is Republican or Democrat, gets any credit for anything. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Raycons. Best earbuds around. Love mine E25s. Nice noise isolating fit no matter what I'm doing. If I'm playing golf, if I'm working out, I don't have to worry about hearing the things that I want to hear on my phone. If I got to make video conference call, all of that stuff is incredible. It truly is. The 6 hours of talk time, but it's the fit to me. The sound quality is incredible. It's just amazing. And it's just awesome. But the fit is what makes it for me so awesome. Cause I see other guys, I'll go work out and stuff, and they got the wires or they got the stem sticking out and they're pushing in all the, I don't have to do that. I put them in and I go. I never worry about them falling out. I never worry about any of those things. And I love the look and the feel. If you want the best earbuds around, Ray J's put them together. The cold Raycons, the E25s that start well under $100. Now is your chance to take a huge advantage of getting the best earbuds around for well under $100. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Save 15% on top of the amazing savings for the E25s, the best earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
You know my love of Halloween and Christmas. You put it all together, and you've got something that's amazing. You do. You got something that is heartwarming. It's incredible. It's called Santa Jaws. It's about a kid, Cody, played by Reed Miller. Looks a lot like Edward Furlong, go back like 1991. But what happens is they got a new book. And they're sharing with their local comic book dude. Right? Big Christmas Eve party. It's going to be awesome. It gets better, kids. But the night before, right? So going to bed, Cody makes some new Santa Jaws sketches, because that's what it's called, Santa Jaws. Using a pen that he received from his grandfather left as a gift. While drawing, he wishes he were alone for Christmas. And, well, that turns out to be not such a great idea. And Santa Jaws takes off.
Can't believe you would do this on Christmas Eve. You're grounded.
What? Tomorrow is the Christmas Eve comic book party.
Well, you should have thought of that before.
You're better off without him. Isn't that right, Santa Jaws?
Cody! That is not a shark! That is Santa Jaws! I know her! I made her! That is her!
Is there anything better than that? I mean, honestly. But if you're going to mash something up, we've had everything with sharks and everything you could dream of, right? We know about that. We've known about the great, amazing shark movies that they've given us through the years on just about everything. If you name it, from Sharknado to I mean, just, it's awesome. But now you've got Santa Jaws. The movie's been out for a while. If you have a chance and you're saying, I want to just laugh at something so awful with a shark swimming around with a Santa hat on, we got a movie for you. Don't say I didn't tell you, and give you great things. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us and text the program. And yes, I did watch some Hallmark movies this weekend. Woo woo! I had to clear out a bunch of DVD space because I can't on every night because I work late and the whole 9 yards. But yeah, I did. It's awesome. There's no Santa Jaws in the Hallmark thing, but it doesn't mean it can't be done. That's all I'm saying, kids. It can be done. And we may do it. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Political comedian Tim Young joins us right now.
I just kind of talk to everyone around the country when I'm traveling about what they think about the polls, how COVID's affected them. And I asked if anyone had been given a poll, and the barber spoke up and said he and his wife had been called by pollsters, and they lied. And they said that they were voting for Joe Biden because just down the road there were a lot of riots, not just in Minneapolis, but in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and they were afraid not just for maybe being targeted by folks who are violent, but also people who would target their business for them being Trump supporters.
Yeah, very interesting. This is a comic, Tim Young, traveled the last year across the country. When he does, comics do that. They chat with people. Hey, people, let's have a conversation. This is how you find. Comics are very diverse in human beings, Right? It's very easy to be woke on, late night shows. The average comic, they're somewhere in the middle. They may like some of the social issues that the liberals have, but they hate the cancel culture because they live in a world of being able to say things that make other people uncomfortable. So they walk a weird fine line. And so you can kind of tell, who likes who there. So they want to be able to make fun of everybody. And they do mean everybody, not even political size. Everybody, everything, all the time. So he goes and he chats. And this is the question about that we've asked for a long time. Since 2016. The underestimating the quiet group of people who don't really want to tell other people they voted for Trump. We brought it up, I think, during the actual race itself in 2016. That when somebody calls, because we're so fearful of judgment. So somebody calls and say, I'm from such and such, polling group. Can we have 5 minutes of your time? And you'll say, okay. They call up. And you pick up the phone. And you say yes. And then it's on. But it's a human being. And we're like, that person may judge us. That person may judge us. I don't know if I want to be judged. Because they got everybody saying that if you vote for Trump, you're a sexist, you're a racist, you're all of these things. He's a horrible human being. And now you take that tenfold. So yeah, I think people do lie. But I also wonder, is there an undercounting of Biden support? And the reason I say that is because I don't see a lot of stuff out there. I don't see a lot of flags. I don't see a lot of support. And I realize he's not very exciting. But I was telling producer Anthony, you can go to a hockey game. You can go to like New Jersey, right? And the Nets and the Devils are playing. And there may be 15,000 there to watch the Nets play. And the next night there's 18,000 there to watch the Devils play. And the NHL outdraws them. But then you look at the TV ratings, which, by the way, both TV ratings suck this year. But still, the NBA totally outdrew the NHL, even in its best. So you do wonder about, is there more people out there? Is the 20,000 are there to support Trump? Is that it in some areas, or is there more?
And I've been hearing more and more from folks. Some other people piped up and they were like, we did the same thing. And this seems to be a trend that's happening. When you see these organic boat flotillas that are going through and parades and everything, this just doesn't happen. It hasn't happened for any other candidate, and the polls don't add up. And that starts to make sense when folks are saying that they're lying to pollsters.
Yeah. Because people are afraid to be judged. Why? We joked about this, and we'll continue to joke about this, but if you listen to this, you will understand. Just listen to Chelsea Handler talking about her ex-boyfriend.
You heard about my ex-boyfriend, right? 50 Cent, and his support of Donald Trump. He says he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes, which, by the way, isn't a plan of Joe Biden's. That's a lie. So he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes because he doesn't want to go from being 50 cent to 20 cent. And I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump.
How obnoxious. I had to remind him he's a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump. Being judged. People don't want to be judged. Who is it? I think it was Hannibal Buress said. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. I think he said not every Trump supporter is a racist, but every racist is a Trump supporter. When you have things like that, where you have people out there who genuinely believe that if you support Donald Trump, if you vote for Donald Trump, that you are a racist, you're a homophobe, you're all of these things. And on the other side, you have people out there that believe if you vote for Joe Biden, that somehow you're a communist and a socialist and that you're ushering in the Soviet Union in Venezuela, which is asinine and stupid. We both judge because we live through the lens nowadays of blue and red, which is completely stupid. But is there something to it? Is there more support even now than there was last time? A larger group that supports him out loud, but even a bigger group that's quiet because of fear.
The folks who voted against him in 2016 are voting for him now. The folks who had voted for him in 2016 are voting again for him. He has unprecedented support. It's weird to say you believe one poll and not the other, but it's interesting when you see the polls that show overwhelming people saying that they have a better life than they had 4 years ago, that they believe in him and the economy, but somehow they're not going to vote for him. It doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't. And when you see television, though, what do you have? You have the skewed thing that everybody has a disdain for Trump because the media tells you all day that they have a disdain for Trump. That's my question is, how can anybody unite this country when you have polar opposites of how? Like, if Joe Biden's not going to unite, if you love Trump, you're not sitting going, I like Joe Biden. And if you hate Trump, which, there's plenty of people that do, if he wins again, you're not going to go, well, I guess he's my president. Some people will, but some people are like, he's not my president. And that's been that way since day one. It's tough to unite because we have now wrapped ourselves. When I was younger, you voted for somebody and you moved on with your life. It wasn't who you were. That was just the vote I cast. And in some cases, it was the best of the best of the worst. But in a lot of ways, this is the person I think could do the job the best. And I don't agree with him in every way, shape, or form, but this is who I think could do the job the best. And then we move on. But nowadays, it is much more than that. Nowadays, it is, and I think this so more than anything else, this is a spike the ball in your face moment. Both sides want to win so bad. And part of it is saving face. They have sold their love or hate for Trump in such a way that they want to be able to spike the ball if they win, and they want to hide so when the other team wants to spike the ball, they don't have to have that happen to them. Your guy lost. Your guy failed. Your guy lost. No, your guy failed. Ha-ha, I told you, you shouldn't listen to the polls. Ha-ha, polls were right this time. Everybody hates your guy, and because of that, they all hate you. That's tough. Because they've made it personal. For me, I care. I don't care. Who cares who wins? Well, Chad, you should care. No. I like some of the stuff Trump does. I'm not going to lie to you on that. Absolutely, I do. And I think Biden, I think he's going to be the worst thing in the world. But at the end of the day, I'm not sold on my identity based in politics. I'm not. I have friends who are on the left side of the aisle. I have friends who are on the uber left side of the aisle. I have friends who are very, very conservative and don't even think of themselves as Republicans. And I have friends who are just regular old Republicans. I have some friends who have sold everything, if you will, as far as their love of Trump, and that's kind of who they become. And trust me, they at times can be tough to be around. Like, it doesn't matter. If you're that obsessed about Disneyland, oh boy, I mean, I would have a tough time hanging out with you for that. And I have friends whose identity now is a hatred of Trump, and they're also tough to be around. This is as personal as it's ever gotten in politics outside of the Civil War. Because we now have platforms where we can connect. Nobody was connecting with people in California, right, during the Civil War, out west anywhere. They weren't connecting with anybody. They weren't. What was going on? We have that now. And because of that, there are so many people who are so invested personally in this belief. But it's also, I want to save face. Because if you wake up on that Wednesday, which is, think about this, we're 8 days away. You wake up on Wednesday, and your person, whoever that is, whether it's Biden or Trump, has won or lost, you're going to feel something on that day. You're either going to be stoked and you're going to gloat, or you're going to feel absolutely awful and you're going to walk around depressed and sad. America goes on. I'm just here to tell you guys that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Rough greens. My dog Doodle loves himself some rough greens. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Vitamins, vegetables, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, everything your dog needs for your dog's food. So it's not dog food, it's supplements for your dog's food. Sprinkle it on it and see the health benefits for your dog. I love Doodle. He's got fatty tumors in his hips and he's got arthritis. Didn't think he was going to make it much longer. Why? He'd become aggressive. He'd become nippy and bitey if you got near him. You could pet him, and then if you moved down too far on his back, he would turn around and snap. It got horrible. We fixed that. We started giving him Rough Greens. Everything changed. After about 10 days, it was like, whoa! After 2 weeks, like, this is it. 7 months in, he's a new dog. He bounces, he jumps, he runs around. It's awesome. We give it to our puppies. Yes, they love it. Your dog will too. If you care about your dog as much as I care about my dog, try Rough Greens. It's $14.95 for a 2-week jumpstart. I swear by it. Doodle swears by it. I'd ask him to give you a little, kind of shout out about it, but he's a dog, so he doesn't talk, but he'd say, ruff, ruff, ruff. You will absolutely see the difference. $14.95. 2-week jumpstart. Less than $15. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Or call 833-MY-DOG-88. 833-MY-DOG-88. Rough Greens. We make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
If you like talk radio like Chad Benson likes his meals, you've come to the perfect place for takeout.
We're going to defeat the virus. We're not going to control it. We will try to contain it as best we can.
We will control it as best we can, but we cannot defeat the virus, Mark Meadows. No, you're not going to be able to defeat the virus like that. It's not going to happen. But, yeah, we have to be able to. Yeah, of course. We just have to be smart, right? They say, how hard is it? Honestly, how hard is it to be, hey, you know what? There's 100 of us in this room. Maybe we shouldn't have 100 people in here. Maybe we should spread out a little bit more. Right? Maybe I don't need to go in that place right now. Now, for some people, they just don't care. You're 21, you feel invincible. Because when you were 21, by and large, most of us felt like, I got a long way to go. Flu's not going to kill me. This isn't going to kill me. That isn't going to kill me. You thought that way because you felt invincible. Most every one of us felt that way in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, as you get older, you think about things a little bit more. You think about and part of that isn't even whether or not you think you'll survive it. I think most people, common sense people, understand that if you get this, even if you're older, right? Even if you're 78 and you have underlying conditions, it's not a death sentence. It's not like everybody who gets it who's 78 drops dead, but they make it seem that way. But when you get older, you start to recognize you're not the only person in the game. Right? You're like, hey, you know what? I don't want to give this to my mom. She could have issues. Or my grandma's living with us. I need to be more aware. You're 22, 21, 19. You're living at college. You're going to go out. You're going to have fun because you don't think about anything other than that moment. I get that. I do. I absolutely get that. And I think we need to have a little bit more understanding of when we see these numbers rising, who's getting these. Most of them, younger age demographic. They're the people getting it. Let's understand what they're about in the sense that, hey, much different than a 65-year-old with emphysema and heart disease. A 22-year-old, well, he could live with them. No, most of these kids are at school. But I just think we need to be smart, right? We don't need to hear terror every 5 minutes.
The numbers are clearly going up, and that's one thing that you look at, but you also try to pay attention to the pace at which these numbers are increasing as well, and that's the real concern. I mean, the numbers are going up, and they're going up at a pretty rapid pace. Add to that what we've known for some time, that the fall was going to be worse than the summer. People can't be outside as much, the virus is very contagious, and it's more likely to spread.
Yeah, it's probably going to spread. Why? Well, the eastern side of the country and through the Midwest, they'll be heading indoors. California, who knows? Northwest parts of the country, going to get cooler. They'll probably be heading indoors. I'm out here in Arizona. Today, we're stoked because it's going to be 75. We're like, what in God's name is this? But we'll be back to 90. We'll be outside more. We go inside when it gets hot. Everybody else goes outside. because our hot's a little different than their hot. It's going to spread. Yeah, it's going to be ebbs and flows of this thing. I don't think the flu season is going to be that bad. If you look around the rest of the globe that's already had their flu season, it's been far milder than anything they've seen in a very long time. And I do think we'll get closer to a therapeutic, even closer to one that's more of an immediate therapeutic. I mean, if you catch it within a few days, you can be given something where you can fight it off without even thinking about getting to the hospital. Not like remdesivir, where you're in the hospital, and this is to make sure that you get out of the hospital having to go on a ventilator. I think we'll get there, and I do think we'll have a vaccine. How good will that vaccine be? That I couldn't tell you. Will it be 50%? Will it be 70% effective? What if it's only 40 to 50% effective? These are all things that are going to come up. At the end of the day, make smart choices. Use a little common sense. It shouldn't be that hard. We're going to get through this, and where we're going to be in a year from now is much better, because the reality is we don't have a choice. At some point, we're going to have to truly live with it, through it, and around it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet, text. Love hearing from you. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We have poll numbers that I'll be talking about up there that have been very extraordinary.
Extraordinary poll numbers. This poll is taller than that poll over here. The poll over here is really, really good. And then, of course, there's lots of polls. We got lots of poll numbers. I don't know what the poll numbers really look like. I couldn't tell you. It depends, right? So who are some of the polls that you trust? Well, for me, I mean, I've got a few polls that I look at and I think, okay, these things are changing. So right now, the TIPP, so the Investor Business Daily TIPP poll, has Trump losing the edge with men, 51 to 44. That's not good. That's not good at all. If you are Trump, it isn't. So, but overall, Trump's not too far behind. Not too far behind. You go to the Trafalgar poll, which is the one that got it 100% right. In which Nate Silver came out, right? Nate Silver, and blasted his polls. That's crazy. It's ridiculous. There's no way those polls can be close. You guys are idiots. I added the idiot part. Well, right now, what do we have? We have Trump up in North Carolina. We have Biden and Trump almost at a dead heat, with Biden leading by 0.5 point in Wisconsin. In Michigan, we've got Trump up by just about 0.5 point. In Florida, Trump up by 2.5 points. How real is it? I couldn't tell you. Is there a quiet storm that's going to come and unleash something we didn't think? And if you go and look at the polls right now, as far as because we've had 60 million people that have voted. A majority of those have probably gone Democrat. Now, how much? Is it 60 million to nothing? No. Is it probably 40 million to 20 million? 35 million to 25 million? I could see that easily. But I also know on the night, I do believe there is going to be a huge push by Donald Trump and the Republicans. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. At the end of the day, it is going to be, I think, closer than some people think. It could be close and a blowout. How could that happen? It could be one of those situations where Trump may get more votes than he got last and lose. Think about that for a second. Think about getting more votes and losing. That's a possibility. Trump could win the popular election and lose. There's all of these scenarios. And if you'd have asked me 3 weeks ago, I would have said, man, Biden's going to boat race him. Every day gets a little bit closer. Every day I feel like there's a little bit of a move in Trump's direction. Now, it might be too late. People might be sick of the show. You know, when we talk about undecided voters, I think most of the people that are undecided aren't people that haven't made a decision. They're asking themselves one question. Can I live with another 4 years of him? Can I live with another 4 years of chaos? Can I live with another 4 years of crazy? Can I live with another 4 years of scandal, investigation, whether it's real or not? Can I live with another 4 years of that? Don't know. Can you? That's a fair question. That is a very fair question. Can you live in a world where there's potentially 4 more years? And think about these 4 more years, too. Because it's not just Trump. People think the only thing that's happening on that. And let me tell you something. You've got races for the Senate, which is that Republicans could be in some trouble there. The House could be strengthened. So you could have Nancy Pelosi in a situation. And, yeah, it will be Nancy Pelosi. I just want everybody to understand that. I know that she is, well, several hundred years old.
I think we're going to win the House, okay? You'll see, but I think we're going to win the House.
You keep thinking that, Mr. President. You just keep on thinking that. Just another example of his delusional statements he made there. He said that we're on the decline with the virus, that
right.
But cleanest air, cleanest
water. If Democrats keep the House, are you going to run for another term as Speaker?
Yes, I am.
There she goes. Of course. So they could strengthen the House. They could win the Senate. And Trump could win. And at that point, talk about 4 years of chaos and craziness. But I don't know. If I'm handicapping it today, I still think Biden has a little bit of an edge. But if you go look at the polls in the past, and 2016 in particular, you go look at those polls and the way that they broke down. People think that every poll had her winning by 20 points or 15 points. It wasn't. During the run-up to the election, especially the last 3 weeks, those polls closed fast. And by the time it got there, most of those polls were in the margin of error, meaning it was 3%. She was up by 2 or 3 points, which is the margin of error. In a lot of polls, the margin of error is like 3 to 5%. So that was right on line. And they got it right, except for a few different states. Is there enough out there that we don't know? Is there enough enthusiasm out there for Trump? I think there is, but there's also a lot of people who are over the show. And that's tough. And remember, this is just more than the Senate and just more than the Amy Coney Barrett, who's next on the list. Oh, my goodness, now they've got a 6-3 lead. It's more than a lot of different things. For a lot of people, this is a personal election. A personal election between their family members, between their friends, between people that are their coworkers, between a lot of different people out there, because they have now wrapped themselves up and sold themselves as either I have a disdain for Trump or I love Trump. And because of that, this is a situation where they're worried about the ball being spiked in their face. They're worried about that aha, I told you moment. They're worried about that because both sides are going to absolutely gloat. Both sides, whoever wins, is going to have the chance to gloat. Whoever wins is going to feel like, ha, I told you Trump sucked, and that proves it. And because Trump sucked and you support him, you suck. And that's why the emotions are so high, because people have now made it about themselves. I've never, and I never will make it about myself. I just can't. I can't do it. There's a great article in the Wall Street Journal. They spoke to Jeannie Safer. She's a psychologist. She's got a psychotherapy practice in Manhattan. She's been there for 40 plus years, so 40 decades. And she's been in as she calls it, a mixed political marriage. She's a Democrat. Her husband's a Republican. And on top of that, he's not just a Republican. He's the senior editor at National Review. And their whole thing is they got this thing called, it's a book, I Love You, But I Hate Your Politics, How to Protect Your Intimate Relationship in a Poisonous Partisan World. And she talks about, you know what, it is harder because we're more polarized. And part of that is because we have access to things that we've never been able to have access to, which is immediately we can voice our opinion with very little repercussions, and we can say things that we would never say to somebody's face because we've got access. That's not good. We don't listen to each other's side. We think we now are whatever we believe as far as politics. So if you're a Republican or if you're a Trump supporter, you're MAGA, you're all of those things, and the other side is an enemy. Not everybody, but there's a lot of people out there who also view you that way. They can't stand Trump, but they view you as the other side. So you're starting and you're clashing. I don't care who you choose. By the way, if you listen to my show, if you're new to my show, whatever, I'm never going to tell you who to vote for. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care if you vote for Biden or for the Libertarian candidate, Jorgensen, or for Trump, or for nobody. You're writing Kanye or Giant Meteor. I don't care. You're going to get the same respect across the board because that is one aspect of who you are. But we have now gotten to the point where we take everything personal and we do care. We care way too much over some things. And it's divided families. It is divided marriages. It is divided friendships, and it shouldn't. I will never base my friendship on what your belief is in politics because it's just a portion of who you are. But we have wrapped ourselves up, and that's why I think this one is so personal for people, because we have made ourselves out to be for him or against him. And if you're for him, you're part of this crew. And if you're against him, you're part of that crew. And it's like, it's the rockers and the socias, right? And that's a tough thing because people the next day are going to have issues showing their face if they're big MAGA supporters and Trump loses. And they're going to gloat if Trump wins, and their other friends are going to have issues. And it's going to start even more fights. And it shouldn't be. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Just don't let it just take a deep breath, man. That's all I say. Just take a deep breath. Don't let it drive you crazy when it comes to this stuff. You can't allow that to happen. Because if you start to really buy into it, where it's us versus them, that is not a good thing. That is not. And if you don't like Trump and he wins, don't be a Richard. If you are a Trump supporter and he wins, don't be a Richard. It's that simple. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Car Shield, 24/7 roadside assistance. Rental car. Well, your car's in the shop getting fixed. And they pay wherever you take the car directly. All you have to do is pay a small deductible. That's what CarShield offers you at prices starting as low as $99 a month. Now you're asking yourself, well, what do they have, Chad? What's the plan? I don't know. What are you worried about with your car? Is it the electronics? Is it maybe your air conditioning, the transmission? They have plans that suit you. All you have to do is call 800-CAR-6000. Be absolutely specific in what it is that you're looking for. It's not that hard. Call them up. Say, hey, Code Benson says you can save me 10%. They'll say, yeah, it will. I'll say, all right, now, you're worried about what? Maybe you've got aftermarket electronics and you're worried about all the things in there that could go wrong. Maybe you're worried about your air conditioning, your heating, your transmission. They've got a plan that's right for you. Call 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson, BENSON, or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson there. Check out everything they've got Find out what suits you best at the budget that's right, and it's amazing. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. So I do it every year, and I continue to do it. We count it down. 5 best horror movies of all time. Why I like them? We give you a breakdown of what the movie's all about. Little behind the scenes, because let's be real. Some of these amazing movies, there's some truth that goes with it. There's some behind the scenes that goes with it. And we're going to count down number 5 in my big holiday scare countdown. And this one is one that is so cool and creepy and at the same time very, very, very real. We'll do it straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Irreverent? Yeah. So what? It's the Chad Benson Show.
So you heard me go on my little rant about Halloween. You guys know I love the scary stuff. I love Halloween. It's always been one of my favorite times of year. Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, favorite time of year. I just absolutely love, love, love it. And I love scary movies. And every year I like to, well, count them down.
Now it's time for Chad's Evil Countdown. The best horror movies of all time. Can you handle it? Are you afraid? You should be.
All right, let's talk about horror movies. Love horror movies. Always loved them. As a kid, I was obsessed with them. I still am. I'm obsessed. If you even look at my studio, I've got monsters everywhere. I've got Jason mask that's real. I've got a Michael Myers mask. I've always loved horror movies. And we're going to start with, to me, number 5 as far as horror movies go. One of the greatest movies of all time, let alone horror movies of all time. And it started out with a trailer. It was a simple movie trailer, but it said a lot.
There is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the devil and gave him jaws.
Love it. Oh, God, what a great trailer. Itself was amazing. And the movie itself was incredible. Some things you didn't know about Jaws. Loosely based on 1916 Mattawa County, New Jersey attacks that were horrific at the time. Nobody knew that sharks could do something like that. Several people were killed in Mattawa County, New Jersey, in and up and down some tributaries there as well, actually in the ocean. It was a rogue shark. Some of the other stuff, though, about the movie. The Orca, the boat, actually sank in real life. Robert Shaw, one of the great actors of all time, was actually evading the IRS during the filming of the movie, which was hilarious. But one of the things that was great is, one of the great parts of the film was when Hooper, Richard Dreyfuss, finds Ben Gardner's boat. And he goes down into Ben Gardner's boat, and the head pops out. It's a great, great scene. Everybody freaks out. They didn't like the movie. Had been done for 6 months, getting ready to release it. They didn't like it. They didn't like the original. So they went to Vera Fields, who was somebody who'd worked in the movie as an editor, had a swimming pool. And Spielberg reshot it in the swimming pool. He added milk to make it look all milky and just, yeah. And he said he would go, during the opening weekend or two, he would go to the movie just to that part, and he would turn around. And when everybody screamed, he would laugh and get up and leave. And they edited it in. It was awesome. Movie was a huge box office success, spawned a bunch of other crap behind it. But when you think about something that's real and scary, what's more scary than an actual shark that eats? Because guess what? It happens. That's number 5 on your Chad Benson Show Scary Movie Countdown. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Halloween canceled. Bunch of nut jobs. Halloween's double this year. Plus, the clocks go back. My goodness. Should we not do that because of the COVID? I'm just asking for a friend. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show.